Hello and welcome to another current events episode of the Pittsburgh Sports Memory Podcast. Today we're going to go over some stuff, so we'll cover what happened in July-ish since our last current events update. I am your co-host, Steve Wirt. As usual, I'm joined by...
Tim Hannon.
All right, let's do this hockey, I guess, now. We're not going to talk about hockey this episode. But we'll talk about baseball since it is the heart of baseball season. And let's talk about one Pittsburgh Pirate in particular, the anathema that is Oneil Cruz. Fun fact, he's named after Paul O'Neill. His father's favorite baseball player was
Oh,
Paul
I didn't
O'Neill.
know that.
Yeah. So why he just didn't name him Paul Cruz, I'm not sure, but whatever.
Was Paul O'Neill the one that had to hit 2 home runs for the sick kid in the hospital?
And he had to, then the next episode he had to catch a fly ball in his hat.
That's right.
But anyway, in the home run derby, Oneil Cruz was there and he decided to show us like all his talent, and it's very frustrating because this guy is one of those players, and you see it all over sports where like he has all the talent in the world. This guy is just like if he can just put it together, he could be one of the greatest players of all time. He really could. He has that kind of talent. The guy can run like is fast, got to be one of the fastest players in baseball. He's tall, he's kind of lanky, he can track down fly balls, he has an absolute cannon for an arm, and he hit a 513-foot home run in Atlanta during the home run derby. He hit one in the freaking pool, Tim. But now he's with the Pirates and they're coaching. He is batting .219 with 40 RBIs. I watched the game last night. They were playing the Diamondbacks, who were very mediocre. He struck out a bunch again, but then he tracks down a routine ground ball in center field and throws a guy out at second that was trying to stretch on him. I mean, stretch a single into a double. It's like maddening. Watching him play is absolutely maddening. The Yankees were talking to the Pirates about trading him, according to John Hyman from the New York Post. But they're saying that maybe the asking price is too high. Any other thoughts on Oneil Cruz? I don't know what to say anymore about him. It's just very frustrating. It would be very nice to see him develop. Like, I forget he had like so many home runs and stolen bases. He's had the most since Barry Bonds at this point of the season. So I don't know what to do with him. I don't know what they do with him. Maybe they give up on him. Cincinnati already gave up on him, so I don't know.
Yeah, I so definitely agree. He's maddening. He should be better. Um, you would think. Uh, the only thing I can say about him is that um, maybe it'll just take him a few more years. I mean, you mentioned Barry Bonds. That was Barry Bonds' early career. A lot of flashes of brilliance, but then frustration and you know wouldn't would make these ill advised decisions in the outfield, stuff like that, right? So would strike out, Uh,
Yeah.
so maybe he
He
gets
also
better.
has what they stolen bases, and he has a bunch of walks, but he has the most strikeouts in the majors. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, the I'd be a little more hopeful if the Pirates actually had like a real manager and an organization that tried to put other pieces around him, things like that. And again, I know we've talked about this in previous current event episodes, but this is a shame because the Pirates truly do with him and some of the other players they have, especially Skeens. They really do have a window here to be good, and they're not going to probably take advantage of it. And sadly, he's one of those guys that could be helping in that, and he doesn't seem to be helping.
yeah. It leads us back to what you're saying. The Pirates, they suck ish. It's just like the more I watch now, I've watched two games now that prove my point. Like they played against Seattle, who's pretty good, and they have that catcher who did win the home run derby. Oneil Cruz got eliminated in the second round. Um, and they pitched to the guy, and he hits like two home runs on him. It's like you knew this guy was like, why are you even pitching to this guy? And it's just like Seattle makes all these great plays in the field and like ends up winning 6-0 in a game that was really way closer than that because the Pirates couldn't make the plays. So I think it's like the difference between like a good team and a bad team, and they're just and a great team and a good team. They could be good. They're on the cusp of being good, but they just have so many bad players in them. I guess maybe the managing isn't that great. I don't. They seem to respond better to this new guy than they did, the old guy. I
Barely,
mean, yeah, I mean,
barely.
Don Kelly seems to be getting more out of them. So they do stuff that bad teams do is they get swept by the White Sox, who the Chicago White Sox are like one of the worst teams in baseball. And then they go and sweep the Detroit Tigers, who are one of the best teams in
Right.
baseball. So go figure. Now the Tigers are on a slump right now. They're only 1 for 9 in the last 10. And I mean, maybe they're in a collapse, but I think the Tigers still lead their division by 8 games. So the Tigers must have had one heck of a first half. I don't know, Tim. This team is very frustrating, and baseball is frustrating. So
It,
here's the hope, and the lockout comes sooner rather than later.
it's more frustrating now than it has been in previous years because in most of these other past 30 seasons, and it's literally been 30 plus seasons where they've stunk, minus
Yeah,
very small handful. In most of the seasons, they just stink. Period. There's not really a lot of hope. Now, like you said, you can see the path. You can see the path to them being a playoff team. The division they play in, the pitching that they absolutely have a path towards being a playoff team. And it's not like in all those other years, it's like, oh man, I really hope, next year we get the number one draft pick and that guy ends up being the next Barry
yeah,
Bonds. No, this is literally, they have the guys now. And all they need to do is just try a little bit. Just like I said, get a real manager, get a real general manager, not even get a real general manager, get a general manager who's allowed to sign guys beyond a 1 year
yeah.
contract and just put a little bit of, again, you don't have to be the Dodgers, just put a little bit of try behind this, and it's
They
just
they
for that window.
yesterday they played the Diamondbacks in 11 innings of baseball. Do you know how many runs they scored, Tim?
Zero.
Yeah, zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't win scoring 0 runs, and you can't blame the pitching.
Yeah.
And the Diamondbacks have a decent lineup. They have guys that are hitting well. So it's just so frustrating, but that's enough of them. How about Steelers training camp? That started, right, Tim?
Yay.
Do you care about Steelers training camp, or like you like me? I don't really care.
I mean, I care to the
This
point
is
where,
traditionally the end of baseball season.
yeah, I was going to say it at least gives us something to talk about. Whereas like really the last month, you had nothing else. So it's nice to see football back. The thing I don't like about training camp are the overreaction kind of stuff. It's like, oh, we so and so was practicing today and he looked really sharp or he looked really bad. And it's like, come on, it's practice.
So Aaron Rodgers threw an interception on his first pass at
There you
practice.
go.
So
Yeah.
it was the Patrick Queen. So
So he's a bust. What a waste of a signing. I told you.
uh,
That's what everybody's saying to their online right now that didn't like the signing.
the Steelers have lost 9 starters and 16 players overall. So they are a totally different team from last year. So who knows? I have no idea. They could go in the tank. They could make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I could see them making the playoffs if things go right. The team stays healthy and stays together. I could see them kind of having a year like last year again.
If they won 10 games last year with Russell Wilson essentially being like completely broken down by the
Yeah.
end of the year and the defense being a little shoddy and the offensive line being, very questionable, then logic dictates that they should be able to win more than 10 games this year. But it's the NFL and you just never know what's going to happen.
So, I mean, the Trib Sports had a breakdown of a couple different players. We'll go through them. I don't know, Tim. You can comment. I'll comment. TJ Watt, now the second highest paid edge rusher. They have yet to win a playoff game with TJ Watt in the lineup. He has been very disappointing in the playoffs. And I don't think, does he even have any sacks or fumbles or interceptions in the playoffs? I don't think he
He scored a
does.
touchdown against Kansas City in the playoffs. I remember that, but I think he recovered a fumble.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't wouldn't say that the Steelers haven't won a playoff game in 8 years because of TJ Watt. I think that's unfair. I mean, I'm sorry. He's an edge rusher. He's really
he's
good.
totally fair. Totally fair.
I think that that's, I mean, I don't know. I just, I'm not gonna be part of that. Like the TJ Watt doesn't deserve the money because he hasn't won a playoff game. That's more of a team thing than a TJ Watt thing.
Well, maybe they'll win one this year. DK Metcalf. I don't know. Sure. I hope he gels with Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to be any good? Was he good last year, Tim? I don't remember. He was okay last year, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's very talented. So it's nice to have, you know, a talented receiver who's not George Pickens. Um, we'll see. That's all I can say is we'll see.
Jalen Warren, is he another will? I mean, is he gonna? I mean, I guess they're gonna split between him and the rookie, right?
Yeah, I think
It's gonna be
Jalen
running
Warren. I think Jalen Warren's better as the role he's
Se-
had the last couple of years.
second banana, not
Yeah,
first banana.
but
Yeah.
it's a rookie, so you have to. We'll see. Again, we'll see. I think if Caleb Johnson's as good as people think he could be, then I'm excited for him. I think, you know, you talk about everybody says, oh, the Steelers never won anything with TJ Watt. They never won anything with Najee Harris either. And so we'll see. We'll see if that improves anything.
Did you hear what happened to Najee Harris? He messed up his eye in a
Yeah,
fireworks
yeah,
accident. So,
yeah.
oops. Kind of glad we don't have him anymore. How about Broderick Jones? Can he not have 3 holding penalties on like one series? Is that that happened against Denver?
Yeah, at least they're putting him back in the position he's supposed to play out. So again, I think it's a kind of a make or break year for him.
Yeah. Juan Thornhill, he better be freaking good because they lost a really guy that was really good to put him in his place, and they just signed somebody from the Ravens. I saw, but I didn't even look. Some guy named Chuck something or other. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll
Whatever.
see. I don't know what they're going to do. You know, if Jalen Ramsey's going to play in the slot or they're going to play him more at safety. I think Juan Thornhill is one of those guys. And remember, Cleveland, when they signed him, that was like a big money deal because he had come from Kansas City and he was pretty good. And, you know, who knows? Maybe a change of scenery, maybe Cleveland's
Yeah.
Cleveland. So he's also
Browns
going
be
to,
Browns.
he's also going
Yeah.
to play center field. They're not asking him to play a position where, you know, he just has to be okay, I think. So can he do that? I don't know. Again, we'll see.
I don't know why they put Alex Highsmith on this list. I think he'll be fine.
This is like a hot seat list. Is that what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, players to watch for. I don't know. I think he'll be fine. He's gonna
Yeah.
do what he did last year.
Yeah. I agree.
Um, this is true or false, Tim? The Steelers are all in this year.
Yeah. So I really wanted to talk about this one because I've heard this a lot from national media, from local media. The Steelers signed Rodgers and they made this trade of Minka for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith and they're all in for they've pushed all their chips to the middle of the table. I don't get it. I think that's a completely false narrative. I mean, does a team that is all in sign a 42-year-old quarterback? Does a team that is all in trade its leading receiver for future draft picks? You know, does a team that is all in trade their all pro safety? If they were like truly all in for this year, they would have kept Pickens until the end of his contract, and then they would have traded draft picks to get Ramsey and Smith, not Minka. Uh, you know, if you want a real example of a team that's all in, the Los Angeles Rams went 7 years, without a first round draft pick. And some of those seasons they didn't even have a second round pick.
For Stafford, yeah.
Yeah, they traded a ton of draft capital to get a quarterback who was in his early 30s and still in his prime. You know, they didn't sign a guy that was 10 years older who no one else wanted. So, you know, the Steelers also have 12 projected draft picks. If you count compensatory picks that are expected to happen, 12 for 2026. That's not a team that's all in for this year.
I mean they've changed that they're a team in transition because they like I
Yes.
said they got rid of
Yeah.
16 players overall and 9 of them were starters. Ooh. So you
Yeah.
really don't know like I think you can safely say is this is a wild card year. The Steelers could be really good or at least good enough to make the playoffs again or they could be really bad. I could see them being really bad. I can see like Aaron Rodgers fizzling out like midway through the year
Yeah.
and
That
yeah,
could absolutely happen. That's why I said they're not all in.
I would call it. I think more accurate than all in is you just don't know what you're getting. Like when you're changing this many parts,
Yeah.
like especially early in the year, like if they can just go like 500 or somewhere around 500 by the eighth or ninth week of the season, then we'll see from there. But if they're like only have 2 or 3 wins by the eighth week, what would that make them 3-5? Then they're
Yeah.
probably done. You know.
Yeah. What they're trying, if you're what from their perspective, they're trying to balance rebuilding for the future
While
with,
still winning. Yeah.
yeah, with putting the best team on the field possible for 2025. Yeah, because that's what they do. They're not going to be the Penguins and throw a season or two away to rebuild. That's just not how they operate, for better or worse. That's not how the Steelers operate. So they, to their credit, they decided that, like everybody was upset. Hey, these Najee Harris and George Pickens and Russell Wilson and Minka and all the guys that they, changed, those guys had never won anything. And so they made a bunch of changes to try to mix things up. But the future is still really dependent on who they get at quarterback. And they have 12 draft picks next year. So they're going to build for the future while still trying to win this year with Aaron Rodgers. That's why Aaron Rodgers is a 1 year signing, because this is
Yeah.
a bridge year. But to say like they're all in, that's so, and I hate that, because now if they are 3-5 at week 8, Steve, people will be like, oh, ho, 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 the Steelers, they put all their chips in the middle of the table and they stink. It's like, that's not what happened. They didn't sacrifice. If you're all in, like again, like the Rams
Yeah.
didn't have draft picks. You don't have 12 draft picks next year if you're all in. You don't, like I said, you don't trade Pickens for draft picks if you're all in. That makes no sense. So I think that's a dumb narrative.
And I think too, with all them draft picks, you're obviously not going to draft 12 people. They're looking to trade
Yeah,
up in the draft.
exactly. That's exactly
That's
right.
exactly what he's going to do. He's going to
Yeah.
trade up to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
So,
So that's why I'm saying they're not all in. If they were all in, they would have signed like Sam Darnold or whoever the top
yeah.
free agent quarterback was. Aaron Rodgers was like, he was either going to sign with the Steelers or retire. You weren't outbidding other teams for him. That's not going all in. Come on.
Well, we'll end this on a sad note here, Tim, since it's kind of been a slow day, a slow month in sports. We'll close it with the celebrity death portion of our podcast, and this is sad because I kind of predicted this was going to happen. So on Monday of last week, Theo Huxtable, Malcolm Jamal Warner, drowned off the coast of Costa Rica, I do believe. He got caught in a rip current. And then later in the week, Ozzy Osbourne died, and I said to my wife, "There's going to be 3. Bad things happen in 3." And sure enough, the other day, Hulk Hogan passed away. Of course, Ozzy is the Prince of Darkness himself. He's like the Raiders. He's pure unadulterated evil, and apparently a big fan of snorting ants, according to Motley Crue. He did a lot of drugs, had a lot of Parkinson's. I can kind of, you kind of get what you do. Hulk Hogan, cardiac arrest. We don't know what happened there, but something tells me that there might have been some, steroid use in his past. Not to be smudged, but Hulk Hogan had a great career. Tim was always more into wrestling than me. He slammed Andre the Giant, another wrestler who's passed away. That's like a big thing that put 80s wrestling on the map. Would you say, Tim?
Yeah, that was iconic. That was WrestleMania 3. That was, I mean, just
in the Silverdome.
Yeah, I said to a couple of friends the other day, I think that's one of the, if I had to list like the top 10 most iconic moments of my childhood in culture, period, I'd put that one on there. I mean, it was just iconic. And
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan he's one of those celebrities back then. Well, all three of these guys in the 80s, all three of those guys were, everybody knew who they
I
were.
never was a big Aussie fan. Not really. I mean, I would
But
not
people,
that.
I'm saying people knew
Yeah.
who he was. Like all
Yeah,
three of
no,
those
I mean, and
guys.
then he kind of reinvented himself with the reality
Reality show,
show.
yeah.
Him and Sharon, where him, I don't know if him and Sharon were on again, off again. I don't know. She's sick herself, and Malcolm Jamal Warren. That's just tragic. I mean,
Yeah.
weird. And they say that beach was notorious for riptides too, but I don't know. It's just a sad day, sad week for celebrity deaths. Maybe it's just because it's slow and we noticed. But like you said, were you a big Cosby Show fan, Tim? I never really watched the Cosby Show.
Yeah, I was. My family, that was a big show in our house. We watched that every Thursday at 8 o'clock.
Oh, that
the Cosby
that
Show.
was like NBC's like must see TV.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was Family Ties on in that block too? I bet they.
I can't remember. Yeah. I mean, Cheers was on at 9. Cosby Show was at 8. Cheers was at 9. I can't remember what all the other
was
shows
it 8:30?
were.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a different world after Cosby Show, but
we're finishing up your pudding pops and then snorting ants while watching wrestling. I don't know.
I mean, Bill Cosby's unfortunate transgressions aside, I mean, that show was just huge at the time. And yeah, Malcolm Jamal Warner was kind of like, there was a bunch of kids on the show, but he was kind of like I would say like the more standout one. And
hey, don't sleep on Raven. She was awesome when she was like 5 years old.
Yeah, she was. But yeah, that was sad. So that was really sad, especially him because he was so young. Ozzy was 76, and my goodness, the fact that he made it to 76 is a miracle. And Hulk was in his 70s.
Hulk was 70s, yeah.
And like you said, I mean, both those guys had lifestyles that probably pointed to, potential health problems down the road. I don't know Malcolm Jamal Warner did or not, but like you said, his death was not related to that. His death was just a tragic thing. So yeah, all three sad. Again, that was our childhood, Steve. That was me and you. We grew up in the 80s, and those were all huge figures in our childhood.
Well, we appreciate everybody tuning into these current events thing. We'll keep doing them. Hopefully in August, we end on a more positive note. We'll be celebrating Aaron Rodgers. Well, they don't start till September, so
we'll be celebrating the amazing pass he threw in training camp.
Yes, we will. Thank you so much. Check us out on Facebook. But yeah, please comment on what you think of Aaron Rodgers on our Facebook page and on all the other, if Oneil Cruz will ever turn it around and become the next Willie Stargell. And thank you and God bless. We'll catch you next time.